My greetings to all of you. It was very heartening, encouraging when I noticed introduction of each of you. That introduction was backed by solid foundation. You are having foray into critical areas as an expert. Congratulations. Ambassador Vijay Thakur, the director. I started on a very low ebb. But I find performance of the Indian Council of World Affairs has been much above the mark, much beyond my expectations. It has performed wonderfully. I get very encouraging reports. The kind of MOUs which we have had with the universities, they are also in a bit mode. The presentations made to me, increasing my knowledge of world affairs, they were very incisive, very thorough, very comprehensive. And therefore, this is the great trouble which director has invited for herself. I'll be having greater expectations and more work allocation. If you don't do homework, nobody gives you additional homework. But if you do your homework well, then you keep on getting homework. So we will be expanding. And in that expansion, I will have to take care of some of our needs, which are well premised. We are working on it. Shri Sunil Kumar Gupta ji, 1987 batch IS officer, IIT Kanpur background, secretary to the Vice President. You are lucky to have Somen Bagji, 1993, a very senior batch, 30 years. The occasion is indeed a milestone. When I looked around, it has everything of congeniality for the person who wants to use the facilities. There is no ostentation. There is nothing like outrageous. All in sync with academic mind. A good atmosphere. One can be at peace with oneself, exploit one's talent and potential, reach out to a conclusion or formulation of his or her inclination. So great outfit is. This has happened after 80 years, 8 decades. Much needed. I am sure there will be more footfalls. Footfalls is not statistics. We are not on numericals. We are not crazy about footfalls. We are crazy about those footfalls that matter, that can contribute to larger good of the society and the country. So this establishment is now in a different league. And I have no doubt Ambassador Thakur would take it to yet another higher level. That will happen. Indian Council of World Affairs will have to now reinvent itself. You are window of every citizen to the world. And you are window for every outsider to the great country. We are 1/6 of humanity. So your job is twofold. You have to make aware the outside world what is happening in this great country. Because India is in a defining moment of history. Certain things that are happening are beyond dream, imagination, and conception of the outside world. They can never imagine that this could happen in a country that has diversity of religion, caste, creed, language, cuisine, everything. Let me give you two illustrations. I started my political journey in 1989. I was elected to Lok Sabha. I was a union minister. But what I saw then, our foreign reserves were less than 2 billion. We could not take care of more than 2 weeks. In physical form, gold had to be airlifted to be placed to 2 banks. And now, foreign exchange reserve is 600 billion. That everyone has to know, that side and this side through you. This is an achievement. No one knows better than you people. Fragile 5. Brazil, Turkey, Indonesia, South Africa, and India. Fragile 5. Just a decade back, economies of these countries were supposed to be burden on the world. There was need for upliftment. And just imagine in 10 years where have we come? From fragile 5 to being 5th largest global economy. And you know it more than I do. By turn of the decade, we'll be the 3rd largest global economy. Now this impression, if it emanates from such an authentic body like Indian Council of World Affairs, it will impact our diaspora. It will impact global leaders. Because you are accountable for whatever you say. And whatever you say is defendable. Whatever you say is provable. This is only one facet. One of the subjects is digital development in the country. Now the world is surprised the kind of technological penetration this country has had. Everyone in the village, I am from a village, is using technology. Everyone. To pay for service charges, to apply for government facilities, to apply for passport. They do it from the village. The long queues that were there, you ask your elders, they would take half a day leave from the office to deposit a water bill, electricity bill. Now this big change has come. But you are the authentic platform to indicate to the world that our accomplishment on a global horizon is 46% of the world. We are 4 times digital transactions of USA, UK, France, and Germany. This, if you say, and if someone does serious research and goes at micro level, it matters. Come to the applicability and skill when it comes to use of mobile phones, computers. Per capita data consumption in our country is more than that of USA and China taken together. You have to tell the world, you have to neutralize false narratives when they talk of food scarcity in India. You have to tell the world that from 1st April 2020, more than 800 million people are getting free rice, wheat and pulse. And this continues. No one in the world can claim to have it. You have to say. you have to generate a perception about India that is in sync with the ground reality of today. Like 2,200 million certificates Covaxin are digital. In all other countries, they are on paper. Just imagine what an accomplishment, what a feat. You have to create that mechanism where a senior diplomat said once, in diplomacy, you win a point. If you win a point, you score a point by argument, you lose the battle. So you as researchers will neutralize them by having an exhaustive input on a particular issue. I had the occasion to personally listen to some of the global leaders in the world of finance or heading sovereign nations, what they had to say about this country. And you'll be surprised that they talked before we could talk. We should be taking lead. We have to tell even our own people how effective, impactful, strong we are on ground. Shri Ajay Banga, World Bank chief. Now what is said, amazing, makes us proud. These are collective achievements. There is vision of the Prime Minister. There is mission, passion, but there is execution by the bureaucracy, and there is acceptability by the people at large. He says, India has achieved financial inclusion targets in just 6 years, which would otherwise have taken at least 47 long years. Unquote. Now the man who is in charge of World Bank, who has a global vision, he is accountable for every word he says. He is appreciating our country. Now someone here has to engage into that research paper that India's financial inclusion started when we had those Jan Dhan accounts. There were critics, and critics are bound to be in every dispensation. They may be well motivated, they may be ill motivated. But if you examine how the landscape of this country has changed by financial inclusion, how many accounts have been opened? They run into more than 400, 500 million. And the impact is, farmers I am taking as a category, because a farmer is in a village. A farmer is farthest from technology. I belong to a farmer's family, farthest from technology. But if in this country, 3 times a year, 110 million farmers can get money in their account direct, it speaks volumes. One, the one who is delivering is competent, but the reception has also to be equally competent. They know it. This is because of this financial inclusion. And therefore, this one statement can be subject matter of a research paper, a comprehensive paper that will take us a long way. Then, groundbreaking measures taken by central government and the pivotal role of government policy and regulation in shaping the digital public infrastructure landscape. Now, those of you who have roots in the village, go to your village. इंटरनेट तो ठीक आएगा वहाँ, बल्कि कुछ बेटर आएगा. This is that in our country, the development is not pyramidical, that the metro is rising and at the lower level, the villages, no one is attending. In our country, the rise is plateau. All things are rising. You have airports, you have rail infrastructure, you have road infrastructure, you have technological infrastructure, you have health facilities in the village, you have education facilities in the village. That is happening. So that you have to do. And then the World Bank chief says, I quote, India's digital public infrastructure has had a transformative impact extending far beyond just financial inclusion. I want some of you to focus on this transformative impact. How it has changed the lives of people, how they are beneficiaries, and how India is a role model that can contribute globally for development of such infrastructure in other countries. Now that will happen once there is an effective paper. Now anyone writing a paper, a research paper, will have meaning. But if that research paper is projected by Indian Council of World Affairs, its impact is going to be very different. European Union, the chairperson, I went to European Union as leader of the Indian delegation in 1990. Ambassador Thakur and the people from foreign ministry know there are 4 capitals, am I right? European Union. Then I went to all the 4 capitals. I have met the lady twice. But what she said at G21, I quote, there were question marks about the future of G20 presidency. And I think India's strong leadership has preserved the G20. And those open the space for presenting them as part of next presidency to continue working on public issues. Now, if you examine G20, it has sovereign nations, but it also has European Union. Now, you can engage in research that those European members of European Union who are part of G20 because of European Union, what was their status decades ago? They were impacting this part of the globe by colonization. It has happened in India, a historic development, a milestone development, that African Union is a part of it. Juxtapose the two, you will know the difference. That's a great achievement. Another achievement which study needs to be done is the corridor. It goes from Bharat, then it goes through Saudi Arabia, the Middle East, and Europe. And view it when it goes, we go up to Phnom Penh and Vietnam. Examine it in the context of what the others have done. The belt, the corridor, the impact it will have. Go into the historical background that this corridor exactly was functional thousands of years ago. It was functional. That is something that has to be done at your level. I am a president. I had the good fortune of meeting with the lady in Phnom Penh, at Qatar, at London, and in G20. Every time I find she is more a bit about India. And she talks from, I'll just indicate what she said. I would like to congratulate Prime Minister Narendra Modi for successful leadership of G20. Leaders wholeheartedly embrace the theme of India's presidency of one earth, one family, one future. Now you have to correlate this theme to our civilizational ethos. The ethos we lived all through. We vindicated them and then conveyed a strong consensus for joint action to address global challenges in the New Delhi Declaration. Now, there is a war. Ambassador Thakur knows more about it. But our Prime Minister had indicated two things in last 20 months. One, we are not in an era of expansion. That was his statement. That was a very strong statement that a sovereign nation cannot engage in expansion, which means you are making an incursion into the sovereignty of the other nation. And second, that war is no solution to a problem. Solution, resolution has to emanate from dialogue and diplomacy. Now you are most important part of dialogue and diplomacy. Trust me, those of us who act in parliament will be much wiser if we are counseled by your inputs, because your inputs are bound to be very thorough, exhaustive, at micro level, duly filtered. And that is something which Indian Council of World Affairs has to do. And I'm sure it will do. Joe Biden, President of the United States, he said, the African Union is a critical partner. Yes, but this was catalyzed by Bharat. It was India who thought for the first time. Everyone agreed, but no one took initiative earlier. Your actions have to indicate to the world. You, and he addressed the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, are bringing us together, keeping us together, reminding us that we have the capacity to tackle challenges together. That is. Then I will not go to what others have said. You people are more aware of it. India's presidency of G20 was a breakthrough. It generated global consensus. There was legitimate, rightful emergence of India as a global power. India's interests are dictated by interests of its people. We never had a foreign minister who got so much applause, so much appreciation for just being forthright. Before speaking in our country, he spoke in the US, in European Union. And mind you, the stand of India, stand of Bharat on the war is a high watermark of Indian diplomacy. The foreign minister has engaged into an activity that has resulted in the declaration being totally consensual. And that is in line with India's foreign policy, India's public stance. The orientation is organically evolved in our country. That is what has been done. So I would urge all of you, you couldn't have had a more dynamic director. And she will take the institute to a much higher level. I am sure over next 1 month, she will prepare a vision document. How Indian Council of World Affairs has to be the bridge of dissemination of information, imparting of information within India, diaspora, and foreigners. And you have a big role to play. I don't want to take more time because foreign affairs is not my cup of tea. ठीक है ना? And you are the most impactful ambassadors of this country. For example, let me tell you, we have to be on caution. कुछ लोगों का भारत में विकास को देखते हुए हाजमा गड़बड़ हो जाता है. Now you all are discerning minds. You are intelligent minds. At G20 Bharat Mandakam, the last person to leave after the leaders had deliberations and gala dinner was the Honorable Prime Minister. The last three were the Honorable President, myself, and the Honorable Prime Minister. Everyone had left. And Honorable Prime Minister and myself saw off the President. Then Honorable Prime Minister saw me off. Then Prime Minister came. मुझे कहीं पानी दिखाई नहीं दिया अंदर. मैं इंडियन काउंसिल ऑफ वर्ल्ड अफेयर्स में आया हूँ. बाहर बरसात होगी तो सड़क पर पानी दिखेगा पड़ते हुए. तो लाइब्रेरी फ्लड होगी. मतलब वो ठाकुर हैज डन, द लाइब्रेरी इज फ्लडेड. मतलब ये कोई नैरेटिव चला दे, दिमाग खराब है. मैं आश्चर्य हूं. I was last but one and the Honorable Prime Minister was the last one. Keeping in view the ethos of this country, that since he was absolutely the man in command, he saw us all. And it was after 11 p.m. और कोई कहीं पब्लिक मीटिंग में कहता है कि पानी भर गया. ये नैरेटिव जो है ना, pernicious, sinister narratives, anti-national in character, are being floated periodically. जब यहाँ दाल नहीं गलती है, तो you can go to Europe, you can go to UK. There will be some takers always. Because when rise of this country home to 1/6 of humanity is phenomenal and imaginable, a destination, global destination of investment and opportunity, तो we must neutralize them. और आपका रोल काफी है in neutralizing such crafted strategy only to taint, tarnish, demean, and I may go to saying decimate our constitutional institutions. It is with great pain I indicate to you. And someone has to do it. You say comparative study. You have to examine in global affairs proceedings of the Senate, the Congress, the Knesset, House of Commons, and our own Constituent Assembly. There was dialogue, debate, discussion, deliberation. There was no disruption, no disturbance. Now when India is rising, can we afford disturbance to be weaponized as a political power? We cannot. Now, in the country, the wisest will come to know only about Constituent Assembly. But you will have a global view. You can pick up 20 countries. क्या वहाँ स्लोगन शाउटिंग होती है, वेल में आ जाते हैं, प्ले कार्ड दिखाते हैं? Now imagine, communication is so vital. One nation, one election is a concept. One may not agree to it. One may oppose it. One may oppose it tooth and nail. But to say we will not discuss it is not democracy. Democratic values plunge. Blossoming of democracy takes a big hit when we get away from dialogue and deliberation. I can't be a happy man in Rajya Sabha, presiding Rajya Sabha. Now what we members in Rajya Sabha, what example are we setting for you? So each one of you has to engage into in-depth analysis of anti-national narratives, unwholesome parliamentary practices, and generate an ecosystem whereby we fall in line. Political stakeholding, we salute it. People will have their political views. उनका विवेक है, मैं सपोर्ट नहीं करता. We respect the other point of view. We can't immediately throw the other point of view out of the window, no. But then there has to be discussion, deliberation. I look forward to the special session. अब ये 3 इंटर्न तो यहाँ हैं सर. तो राजेश, आपके कुछ इंटर्न्स को हम राज्यसभा में भी 2-4 दिन बता देंगे कभी. We will make their life comfortable. ठीक है ना? I conclude by congratulating ठाकुर, Ambassador ठाकुर, that जो MOUs इन्होंने किए हैं यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में, 2 of the universities have written to me that we are so delighted. They were surcharged by your presence, motivated. We will have a structured method of working. We are inviting interns in Rajya Sabha from all over the country. We started with the Northeast. We have started with Sainik School boys and girls. Now girls are also admitted in Sainik School. But we heavily depend on her also, that whatever she will think, it will be well received at our end. Thank you so much. Ambassador.